This is the season of amplification. This is a special season for those who grew in their reverence for God while going through the turmoil of the COVID pandemic. You are now in position for a level change. And when I say a level change, it's not a level up, but a level of depth. See, it's an Eurocentric perspective to think the higher you go in life, the closer to God you become. But in ancient African wisdom, it tells us that it is the depth of your knowledge, the depth of your wisdom, the depth of your understanding, and how you allow it to live through you in your actions that gives you the opportunity to get behind the veil where God exists. This is a special season for those who have a healthy fear in God and not in a COVID mutation or a variant that continues to put restraints on our old way of living. Because in the depth of our understanding, we know that change is imminent, and our ability to adapt to change will reflect on how we fulfill God's purpose in our lives. We are still on mission, regardless of the COVID pandemic. This season of amplification is a special season for those who spent God's currency wisely. And that's that extra time we were given to spend in our households, to fortify our relationships with our families. That extra time we had to edify our minds, our bodies, and our spirits, so we become more prepared to walk in this new beginning. This is a special season. See, the number 22 is considered a master number because it duplicates and amplifies divine energy. At this moment in time, for the next 365 days, you are getting double the strength, double the creativity, double the protection, double the drive and determination, double the love. This season of amplification, yes, you are made ready for your spiritual breakthrough of 22. Everything is in your reach, but it's still up to you to go get it.
over me. You have been so, so good to me. Yeah. Before I took a breath, you breathed life in me. Yeah. You have been so, so kind to me. Yeah. Worthy of our never ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, feisty I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Worthy overwhelming, never ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was a fool, still your love fought for me. You've been so, so good to me. When I found no words, you paid it all for me. You've been so, so kind to me. And what never ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. Oh, I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away, and what overwhelming, never ending, reckless love of God. There's no mountain you would climb up, shadow you would light up, coming after me. No walls you would bring down, lies you would tear down, coming after me. No mountain you would climb up, shadow you would light up, coming after me. No walls you would break down, lies you would tear down, coming after me. Hey, when hungry, you fed me. When thirsty, you gave me water. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yeah. You found me and gave me brand new life. You found me and turned my life around. You found me and made me brand new person. You gave me a new name. You turned the situations around. You forgave my sins. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. The overwhelming, never ending, reckless love of God. Wow. Wow. The overwhelming, never ending, reckless love of God. That means He is always pouring into you. He just pours. And if you ever had a glass of water and you poured a glass of water and turned away and how it spills out the glass, that's like the level of recklessness, right? That you're not being conscious of how much you're pouring in. God has no limit on what He's willing to pour into you, that He continues or right now pours into you. That's a powerful song. And I'm hoping that at the end of this, if you hear that song again, it's going to inspire you a totally different way. How God pours in recklessly. I'm going to just fill this person up. I'm going to just keep pouring. I'm going to just keep pouring. And I'm going to just keep pouring. And I want to see what it produces. Can the container in which I'm pouring in hold what I have, or it's going to spill out? And if it spills out, who receives it as it comes out of you? Man, man, I hope you get a deeper understanding of what those words mean when you hear that song again when we finish this lesson. Right? Because right now, of course, welcome to the Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. All the young ones, all the middle-aged ones, all the older ones, all the seasoned ones. We in the house. Welcome. Let you know that here, this is the focus of the Rise of the African, the social media Pan-African movement. Everything we do at the World of Alkebulan, everything that the African speaks is toward the Pan-African experience of us coming together as a people under one umbrella. We on our Marcus Garvey move. Next month is Black History Month. Woo! I got to have some power pack things prepared for Black History Month. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't even know yet, but we're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to let God talk to within our imagination, and we're going to produce something beautiful. I got some great news coming this week. I got some great news transitioning over to what will be true Black history, and it comes in the terms of Words of Alkebulan. Now, because we're out here searching, trying to get the diaspora of Black people to come together. Look at his and this is just the top 20 list of the nations around. How many Africans are around the globe? This is only the top 20. We only need 1 million. We need 1 million people to come together to change the world. So we always ask that if you're watching via YouTube, please click the subscribe button, click the notification bell so that you could always see when we pop up with a new lesson, new class, new everything. And then if you're watching us on Facebook or any other pages that I'm watching, because we're streaming on 5 different pages, we ask you to like, we ask you to comment, we ask you to share. Like, comment, and share. Because again, this is how we build up our community. And so, with that being said, these are the 5 days a week. Not 5 days a week. We're going to say 5 classes a week. On Sundays, we got Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. Starts at noon. I'm a little late, but we rolling. Tuesday evening, we have the African Speaks at 7. Thursday, we have Afro Stream at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And Saturday, I don't know if y'all missed this Saturday because it was a powerful. I had somebody tell me, like, what, a lot of people, yo, I'm just learning new stuff every Saturday. And that's 1 o'clock African World of Alkebulan Roots and Culture African History class. And then at 2 o'clock, we have Understanding African Spirituality. You can't study the history of a people if you don't understand the spirit in which they created civilization and life. And then you'll understand why we are the way we are and how we got to where we go. And so we want y'all to always be a part of that. And I always want y'all to let y'all know as we move forward, everything I do here, or we do at the World of Alkebulan, is based off an ancient covenant promise that we have with the Creator from the back in the beginnings of time. I will be your God if you be my people. We've been the people of God since day one, where He's been our God. Now, of course, we hadn't always been a people, always working together, always coming together. And that is the concept behind Rise of the African. How do we get back to those days where we live royally? People say grand rising. Why? Because we're not mourning. We're rising in a grand space. Okay, that's nice. So what do you do with that in reference to your community, your people, your connection? If you rise in a grand way, woo! If you are who God called you to be, this is what we work on. And so to let you know that all of it is based off of relationship. And then if you will hear, if you was at African history class, you know about the great Mayat, meaning that that's that balance of God and man and spirit, and then man and man, and then man and nature. What? Complete balance, complete relationship, and that's where we're going. Complete balance, complete relationship. And so we want to also, always connect the dots. Straight up continuity. We don't start from scratch. We don't start from scratch. We build on the blessings of the day before. We don't, and we did well. We're gonna talk about the wins and losses and lessons in a few seconds. In a few seconds. Now, I had somebody ask me about how do you come up with what you come up with. Let me see if I could do this right, and I'm gonna do this real quick. And I said, I don't know. I God hits me, and it happens. And so this morning, I was like, okay, what we gonna do today? Speaking to the ancestors, speaking to God, you know, I'm like speaking within myself. What are we gonna do today? Then all of a sudden the ideas hit. So when the ideas hit, my brain storms, comes in. And it doesn't come chaotic. It comes focused and say, this is the lesson, this is the word, this is what you do. And it comes continuity. This is how you connect your yesterday to your today, to your now, to your sasa. If you don't know what a sasa is, that means you have to go back to Africa. You got to be in African history class. Got to be there. So to your sasa. So this is how my brain works in the mornings. Or when my brain works, I get the idea and I just formulate it. Look at the craziness. This is now, of course, you may not be able to see it, but I see the continuity and I break it down. And then I see the visions of the images that you see behind that pops up. It comes in. And I don't know. So I give it all praises due to the creator, the most high, that is pouring his reckless love that pours in. And as it pours in, I'm not supposed to hold it. It's supposed to come out. So this is a connection. The continuity of my faith and my movement of my yesterday into my sasa. Right. And we looking at you doing the same. We said today that we are in that journey of this is the 22nd year of 2022. And we talked about the power of 22, saw the video when we first started. And last week we discussed again continuity, the connections, showing you how the journey doesn't end. People say in the new year, well, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do. Wait, your journey what you didn't do last year continues with you. Now, how you move, you can move different, but it's still a continuation. And so I'm gonna start anew. No, you're gonna start where you left off. Always. It's not like time stops for you. God pays something to you each time. He pays you time. You're always producing time, continuity. Now, what you do in it may change, but time continues. Even after you're not here, your time continues. And so what we talked about was using our time during the 22, our spiritual breakthrough of 22, and knowing the number of 22 is getting that double proportion. So God is pouring reckless love into you. He has two pitchers of love pouring in. That's what the 22 means. It's a master number. So last week we talked about the art of generating your power and your purpose. The art of generating your power and your purpose, right? And so in that art of generating your power and your purpose, we also discussed the fact that there are no losses. There's no win or losses. There's only win and learn. There's only move up and move up. There's nothing else. Even if you're standing still in your still stance, you should be learning at a point. Should be no stability, no stagnation, because God is still doing what? You're spending time doing something. Even if you're doing nothing, you're spending it. You're doing something, absolutely nothing. That's a lesson. Why? Because I learned if I stand still too long, I physically produce nothing. Now I can stand still in spirit. And then it take a long time that I stand still in spirit because I'm receiving something. And then the instant I make a move, woo, that move is powerful. Right? And so we said in order to get to your your power and your purpose, you had to answer five things. Five things. Who am I? Where am I from? Why am I here? What can I do? And where am I going? And so you can't get to those, you can't get to your power and your purpose or accessing that spiritual breakthrough without asking those five questions. Because God has you here for a reason, not just for yourself, but for others, for the sake of others. Because if what you're doing only serves you, you're doing absolutely nothing. What? Tune in to Tuesday Night African Speaks, where we talk about the rise of the African. Earn your breath, or earn your oxygen is what it is. Earn your oxygen, right? So where are you going? If it's only for you, you didn't hit that God consciousness yet. What? Because you have the opportunity to function from your own understanding or from a higher understanding. We're the only creature that has. That's why you have to answer those five questions. Now, when I got to that, I was like, okay, what is the flow for this morning? What is the continuity? How I connect it? I said, some people may be having problems taking that first step. Woo! Look at him. He's looking out into the world. He's asking them questions, and he's got to move on those questions. So he's paused right there. He's standing there trying to figure out how to walk. What? Jesus walked on water. This brother's trying to walk on the clouds. Wow. Talk about it. Doing the impossible with who you are. We about to talk about it. And so the concept today is, let me get it right. The power of your first steps. The power of your first steps, right? And I'm sitting there, and I was, I'd be flowing, and I went through the whole thing, right? So now in this space, we are trying to get off the sidelines. The power of your first steps. We're trying to get off the sidelines. We're trying to get off the bench. The power of your first steps. We're trying not to spectate in life, but participate. The power of your first steps. We're trying to get into the ring, get into the game. The power of your first steps. Right. We're trying to walk through life and not sleep through it. The power of your first steps. And so you see the baby steps, right? Because we're going to compare, and I'm going to break this down as simple as possible. The baby feet. Because going through life is just like a baby trying to make a move. What? To what? The fulfillment of who they're supposed to be or grow to be, right? The power of the first steps. And now, there are things a child needs. There's things that a child needs when trying to fulfill the opportunity to move forward in life, gain that independence, that sense of self. There are certain things that happen in that moment. In that moment, everybody had to come here. Everybody is still here. This is where we are, making those steps, the power of that step. And what can we do within that? Wow. So we said, as I explain or break down the power of those first steps, I'm going to equate it to this life experience. You may not remember the first days you walked, but your mama does. As you begin to go down the journey of life and you're trying to find out, what am I here to do? You may not remember certain things. God remembers. What? The power of your first steps. Look at the picture and let's understand. The first thing that you need is stability. Woo! Let's talk about what is considered stability when you're trying to make those first steps in life. You're trying to access this breakthrough energy that God has in the 22 season, the season of amplification, where he's not just pouring one pitch of reckless love. He's pouring a double proportion of reckless love for you to get to where he has you to go. Not to where you have you to go. That's something different. But where he has you to go, God has where you to go, not you, not only in your individualistic mind. Individualism versus communalism. We talked about that in society when African history class. What does a true culture look like that builds in the sight of the creator? Communalistic, what is that level of stability? Now, in this scenario, when we're trying to get to that breakthrough, the simple thing is your stability is going to come from knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Know who you are and wait. And you remember those 5 questions? That's one version. And in that part of those 5 questions, let's get there. Let's get there. When you're ready to take your first step, you see the one where it says, "What can I do?" Your potential. Your potential. When you know yourself, know your potential. Right? Woo. Your potential are the things that can't no one take from you. No one can wipe it away from you. Your gifts and your traits, that's innate. That is a gift by God. That is a part of his reckless love. No one can touch that. And when you get that in it, and when you know what your dreams are, you know what your passion is, you know what your drives are, you know what your loves are, you know what it's in you. Wait, I got another image for you. It's that fire that burns inside, that everything you do, it just comes out. You have to know that. That is what you stand on. Somebody cannot, if you are an artist and you can paint well, somebody cannot tell you that you can't paint. What? If you run track, Usain Bolt, and you know you fast, Tyson Gray. You know you quick, what's his name? Astafa. You know you swift. No one can tell you no. You compete with someone else who knows who they are. That power, it just comes out, and you produce in life according to what's inside. You know what's inside. And if not, it's who we get you to be. Now, as a child, you ever seen a child get ready to, I want to walk. Ha ha. Yeah. I know one thing. I'm going to try. And I'm going to get it. And they go forward, the face. They're happy. Why? Because I see life. I may not always understand it in terms of your terms, but now a baby is closer to God than anything else. They hear and feel their ancestors more than anybody else. The younger you are, the most powerful you are. And if you can understand who you are in God quick and fast, you will be one of the most powerful individuals that walk the planet. And so it is our job as adults to get you there as soon as possible. But in you is that innate feeling, that spark of energy that I'm going to give it I know what, I know I know I can walk. I know I can move. I know how to clap. That's that energy. That's that joy. No one can take that from you. No one. If they take it, they got to force you to not take it, force you to not walk. Why? Because naturally, I'm going to get up. Even after a while, you watch a baby and you don't want to, wait, no, wait. You can't even stop a baby to get up when he wants to get up, because it's that passion in him to move. It's that force, that energy that comes out, and you can't stop it. You can't stop it. The second thing, this energy, right? Because we tapping into the power of the first step. The power of it. There's energy there in that first step, what you go through to get to engaging life, where you can get a breakthrough. That's a power move, because everything around you is about that energy, that exchange of energy, that exchange of life, that leg strength. Because even then with that, the ankles, you ever see the baby ankles, little flimsy? They got okay, I'm ready. Well, my legs start shaking. I'm not. I'm ready. I'm not. The next thing you got to get with that is that balance. Now, what are you trying to, wow, what you mean balance, Ajay? I already know how to stand up by myself. You might physically, But we're not going to talk about standing up in God because that's a different level of balance. Woo, we're going to talk about it. This is not even written down. Standing up on your own 2 feet is one thing. Standing up on God is a whole different level of balance. Mind, body, and spirit. We talked about it. I hope you've been here. Balance. Nothing falls when you're in balance with God. Because when you're in balance with God, everything moves according to the way it's supposed to move. Whoa. That's whether it be fast, slow, medium speed. The speed is on God. Why? And I'm good. Why? Because I'm in balance. My balance in God is better than my balance in myself. My balance in myself is, this not even on the paper. My balance in myself is confidence, right? When you have balance in yourself, you have confidence. But guess what? Confidence can be shaken. Confidence can be shaken. When you see somebody in more deeper experience of balance, and that balance doesn't come from their mindset, their balance comes from being standing in the presence and positioning yourself with God and the ancestors. Whoa. That's balance. Because you know you move forward. You can't fall. You can only win or learn a lesson. And that's okay because that's you moving forward. Still, balance. Now, one of the other things that you have to balance in the space of accessing a breakthrough, and I don't have a picture set up, is wait, time. The balance of time. Now, take a quick mental look of this. You see how time is leaving the face? There's a face there. If you can see the face and see how time is leaving the face. In that space, God gives you 24 hours a day. Man has discovered that there's 24 hours in one day. In African spirituality, they don't even have a clock. They just live according to the sun up, sun down. And the days change according to the length of the days change according to the seasons. For us, no, it's 24 hours and that's it. Them, one season change of a day may be longer than the other. You might get more than 24 hours in a day. In African spirituality, in terms of ancient African culture, because they didn't have watches. They had life circumstances and situations, right? And so they balanced their time where? In God. In God. Let's go that way. In God. So when we talk about balance, when you're looking to access the power of your breakthrough, more. How do I act? I'm accessing more of God's reckless love. You have to balance. You have to have time management. My father told me that when at a young age. He said, you have 24 hours a day. What do you produce within those 24 hours a day? And as I went forward in life, I learned that I can produce a lot within myself, but I can produce even more when I'm in God. And so you balance your time, and there's a conscious way of balancing time. And when you're balancing your time, getting to your breakthrough, and not only having, as you go toward, I'm moving toward my breakthrough. And then the accomplishment of whatever that goal, my breakthrough is going to be as I lead to my goal. You're setting your goals correctly, right? You just want, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, do this, do this. And when you set your goals of the things that you want to accomplish, you got to prioritize wisely. What works, what don't work, what should happen, what shouldn't happen, what should you do first, what should you do second? And then you have to set time limits because you can't do, I have an issue and I got to work on my time management because I work, and didn't work. No sleep, and no sleep. I have to fix this. My time management. I got to fix my balance. You take breaks between tasks. I had the habit of running to back to back to back to back. And then I force myself to break and I get nervous. Like last night, I get nervous. Will I be able to focus? I got great. And then I paused this morning, I was nervous because I was battling something yesterday. I was battling something heavy last night, and then, just talking and having things. I was battling a whole lot. And then this morning when I woke up, I gave God the time he needs within me to rest my body. I actually said, you know what, I had to do, God was asking me for a prayer and ritual. And I was fighting it because I didn't want to. I wanted to do something stupid. I wanted to do something crazy, right? I just wanted to, and I couldn't move because he was like, that's not what you're supposed to do. I need you to do a ritual. And I did a ritual to my ancestors and I said a prayer and my body and my spirit relaxed. and I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I was able to, number 5, organize myself to manifest the thoughts that came through, right? And then I remove non-essential tasks, meaning if it's not important, let it go. And then it says plan ahead. Sometimes you can, and sometimes God works in your sasa, your now. What you do now will take care of what happens tomorrow. So you can plan ahead, but it really, your sasa, the moment that you in or you exist, is deeply important. So if you're planning ahead, that's nice. But your plan won't come to fruition if what you do at the moment you live in is not taken care of. The most important moment in your life is right now. Because God gave you this second, this nanosecond, He produced time for you. You're always producing time. See that? That's produced time. If you were listening to African spirituality, that's why you have to honor your elders. And we all have elders. Even elders have elders until elders get to a point where we're elderly together. But there's some elders who are older than the other elders. The oldest one gets the most respect and honor. Why? Because they have more time in God than anyone else. And so they carry a certain reverence in God. Why? Because you have more physical time here in God, not just because of your age. It's not about age in terms of it's your age in God. Ooh. Did you spend most of your age with God, or did you spend most of your age with yourself and your knuckleheadness? We don't like knuckleheadness, right? And when you're dealing with, and I'm gonna ride with this one. We might be a little because I ain't getting off until this lesson finished. When you're dealing with a child's balance, a child will either seek or always seek stable. You know, have you watching them in the crib? They hold the thing and they get it. And you know what I'm saying? If you baby crawl on the couch, they see the couch and the couch is a little squishy, right? But they're gonna lean on the couch and they're gonna get it. Okay, 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 okay. You know, a child will seek the your hand, right? Okay, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna hold on my hand. Okay, okay, I got it. Always seeking balance, and for us seeking a breakthrough, we seek to have balance in God. So we got to spend our time in God wisely. And at the end of every day, reflect on every day to see if you balanced your time wisely. Then edit yourself. Let the next morning be a little bit better in your balance, right? Right. And so from your balance, the next thing you look for is, support. I got support. I got my balance. Yeah, but when you first get off and start, you're looking for that support because sometimes after a while, you can have a baby looking for balance after the stages of your balance. The balance where you have support and the balance where, well, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. When you're going toward a breakthrough, when you're trying to fight for a breakthrough, when you're trying to fight for your power and your purpose, you're needing support. And support comes in two forms, physical and spiritual. Two forms, physical balance, physical support, and spiritual support. Your physical support are your family and your friends, your community, your people. That's support, right? Your spiritual support is God, your ancestors, and people always talk about guardian angels, or spirits, spirit guides, right? When you're dealing with African culture, it's layers of this spiritual walk. You look for that, and so when a child is looking for it, the child will look for mommy or daddy to help. Physical balance, physical support. They will look for something to grab or hold on to. Physical support. But then the moment they sit down and realize I'm going to do something in God, there's no physical support. It's that brace. They get that deep squat. And we all look at the power thighs. You see the power thighs on the baby? They get that deep squat and they, that's that God support. Whoa, And when you don't think you got it, oh, you get that physical support again, family, friends, and community. And then you try it again and you stand up. I'm on my own. I'm with God. I'm with God. That's the whole process. That's the power of this process. Who do you have in your corner? Who do you have in? And I wrote a rhyme in years ago. Yeah, I used to rhyme. I said, who do you know? You got to know who's in your corner when the street getting raw. When life is getting hard, you got to know who's in your corner, because those are the ones who will give you true support. And then wait a minute, that other support is also when you got nobody. It's you and God. It's you and God, because I ain't got nobody. I don't need. No, you need somebody. Sometimes you need you, and God will push everybody away from you, and only you there with God. You're never alone, but you got to be able to support you, your visions, your goals, your dreams, because there might not be somebody physically there that understands it. But if you do, then you have the ability to speak that to someone else till they get it. But you know that God is speaking to you. I'm sorry. You need to know who's in your corner. Sometimes it's just you and God. Sometimes that's more than enough. And when God sees that you understand that it's me and you, now I can bring somebody else, because that's somebody you're not going to give that other person the value that you're supposed to give to God. God brought you to help me. He brought me to help you. Ain't that something? You see that? That's that support. That child knows who's holding him. And after a while, those arms are gonna be gone. And it's gonna be that child in God. Wow. Support. Even in the boxer, and I said this, a boxer goes to a boxing ring with people in the corner. Yo, can I? And they ask, yo, do you mind if I sit in your corner? Or the boxer goes to somebody and says, could you be in my corner? Can you support my journey, my vision, my hopes, my dreams, regardless of what happens in there? Can you be by my side? And it's always, yeah. So when you see a boxer in the between of the rings, everybody's saying something. Everybody. And then somebody says, wait, wait, wait. I want him to hear this voice. Because they go there. But then when it dings and you get that 10-second call where 10, 9, 8, and you got to get off that stool, even though you have that physical support, the only person that can fight your fight is you and your connection and reality and experience with God. You don't get off that bench with them. You get off that stool, they help you when you sit, they refresh you, they prepare you to walk back in that ring. That's when you know you have support. When you're doing what God has you do, you know that you have support when they prepare you to stand with God. Woo! And you'll fight. They do whatever they can physically. You got to know your support team. And sometimes it only breaks down to you and God. That child knows the support team and knows when I got to step up between you, just him and God. Now, the next thing you need is guidance. What? Guidance. And being and with that guidance, there's two versions of guidance. Guidance where you're being led to your opportunity. And that guidance where you are your opportunity. Whoa, what? Guidance when you're being led towards your opportunity, and guidance where you are your opportunity. Now, when you're being led, that's just like World of Alkebulan. We're helping you, we'll lead you to your accessing your best self. Now, there's going to be a point where our leadership stops because you come clearly aware of who you are in God, right? And then that guidance switches where you become the guidance you need, because can finally hear the voice of God. You understand your passions, your gifts, your talents, and you know what needs to be done. And so guidance can be looked at in two ways, right? We said two ways. It's a physical GPS. World of Alkebulan is a GPS to get you to your best self, to get you to your best identity in God. And it don't matter what age you are, because I be writing lessons for every age. If you don't know this now, you know it now, and it don't matter how old you are. That GPS, that direct instruction Wow. Direct instruction is where you get your guidance from. And that's real. Then, when you don't have direct instructions and your passion is high and you're ready for your breakthrough and you're clear and you get to a point in your journey in life where you don't know a direction, but that is when you tap into your knowing, that God in you, and you walk. If you've been here, you know you walk in your co-creatorship where you create your own path. Some of us don't have a platform to stand on. Oh, I be one of them. My concept of what I wanted to do, I be honest, nobody saw it. Nobody supported it. All they said is, go ahead, well, do what you do. And I said, man, well, if I got to pave my own way, that means I got to always exist in my co-creator stage, my co-creator status. And I'm going to connect with God and I'm going to create a road. World of Alkebulan is going to create a road. And then as I create this road, I'm going to put this road on the map so it can be used for someone else's GPS so that they will get to a point of fearlessness in God and create a road for themselves. Because I'll get you there. And once I get you to the most powerful you, help you, that means you got to also walk in God. That's when that baby says, mommy ain't around, daddy ain't around. I got to try this for myself. You know, when you riding a bike and you first learn how to ride your bike and you got the training wheels on and then somebody click, click, kicks your training wheels off, said go. Ooh, and you rocking and they run. After a while, they, I ain't holding the seat no more. And then you got to do it. That's when I'm doing it. Ah, yeah. You get that excitement. You put that work in. You paving the way yourself. You are your own GPS, you and God. Why? Because you're using what God placed in you to create. You're in your co-creator mode. Yes. That GPS, co-creator level. You walk into the power of your own imagination. That's the realm of God. When you're in your own imagination. Some people can only be voluntold. I'm going to tell you what God wants you to do. Man, that doesn't produce anybody. No, I'm going to show you who you are in God in terms of your relationship with God. And then we're going to get God to bear witness in you that this is why I called you. Then that passion is roaring. That passion is a fire. You don't know if you like soccer till you play it. You don't know if you like painting until you do it. You don't know you like dancing until you dance. You know what I'm saying? You ever see a child sit down and see that rhythm? Like, oh, shoot. And a baby just can't. Every time a song go on, what? He already knows who he is and what he going to do. You ain't got to tell him nothing. Nothing. Because he's already tapped in. And if you keep it on tap, he'll pave his own way. It said, God will make a way for your talents. What? Some of us have direct and you can have both. You can get someone to give you direct instructions until you jump off and you do your own thing with God. But everything is God. We live in a divine universe. That's coming up next. Why? Because your next thing you have to do is once you get all of that, you also got to act. What? What? We already know we live in a divine universe. Everything is God. If you were listening to African spirituality, you know that everything is God. Africans don't have a separation. There's no separation. There's nothing. That's why everybody you meet, God in them. You can take the GPS from them. Why? Because if they are whole, God is in them and they going to give you the best of God in them. Why you give the best of God in somebody else? Because the same way God pours recklessly in you, he pours recklessly in everybody. But we have to have that awareness. That's knowing. That's the knowing. When you are aware that everybody is in God. And there is something divine in everybody that God sends your way. You got to make the decision to make a move. Now, when you're making a move and you know before you make a move, you have to understand that we live in a religious universe and everything is for the glory of the Most High. Everything you do. So your first work is not physical action, but a spiritual action of acceptance, your relationship to the Creator. So sometimes, again, it's just a conversation and a prayer. Give me the vision of who I am. And I prayed for that for a long time. This is how this got here. This is how World of Alkebulan developed. God, give me the vision of who I am and what I'm supposed to do and what am I supposed to create. And when you get that vision, that's the action of asking for the vision, asking to be able to see your dreams and your hopes, your desires fulfilled. That's it. That's the first action. And you may not see it as a big action, but it is an action of prayer, an action of request. For some of us, it's a ritual unto the ancestors to plead for their support. We live in a spiritual, religious universe where everything is interconnected, and our first steps is always surrendering to that universe that we know is a religious universe. God is everything, is everywhere, and is all knowing, and is always supplying, and He pours a reckless love into the universe that is His. And you're within that universe. You got dominion within the universe. So your action is connecting to that. First action is connecting. It is always, it is always a movement of faith. Mm. It is always a movement of faith. When you're going toward fulfilling your hopes, your dreams, your endeavors, your aspirations, it is always an act of faith. And so that's why it doesn't matter whether or not you're taking baby steps. Some of us as adults take baby steps in God. And some of us take big leaps in God. The common denominator, meaning the thing that is the same on both of them, whether you taking baby steps in God or big leaps in God, the common denominator, they in God. So when a baby is balancing and takes a step, where's the picture at? When a baby is balancing and takes a step, it's in God. When a parent is not around and they say, I'm going to do this on my own. Sometimes baby falls off beds and, they trying to do what they do. And so they take big leaps trying to get certain things done. Either way, it's in God. So why your baby steps or your leaps is not an issue of maturity or size. No. Making a move has nothing to do with how big the move is. Has everything to do on whether or not you know who is making the move. And so if you tiptoeing in God or making leaps in God, you still a baby. Of who? Of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. So there are things that I might take baby steps in, but I'm making sure I take my baby steps in God. There are things that I'm going to leap, grab, do, both. I'm going to go at it. Why? Because I do that in God. And so it doesn't matter because I'm always in God. The power of your first steps is the power of your faith in God. That knowing. And when you know something that is in your core, in the mind of your mind, your third eye, and in the mind of your heart, your passion, you become unstoppable. child of God at its earliest of stages is literally unstoppable, whether he's tiptoeing or whether it's a big leap. Unstoppable child of God, move in faith and shake the world. And when you do that, you will watch not only the African in you, but the African in everybody around you rise. Now, ain't that something to meditate over? Ain't that something to let get in your heart, mind of your heart? Ain't that something worth giving praise for? God's overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love being poured into you so that the African in you can rise as you express the power of your first steps. Ain't that something? With that, I say, one love.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. You found me. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Worthy of our never ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, feisty I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Worthy overwhelming, never ending, reckless love of God. Yeah.
When I was a fool, still your love fought for me. You've been so, so good to me. When I found no words, you paid it all for me. You've been so, so kind to me.
And what of our never ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. Oh, I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself